All right, it's time to look into what's trending in employment law. Lawyer, you're on the clock.
All right. So we were all aware that yesterday the most recent inflation data came out, and it shows that inflation, while still at a very high rate, ticked up a little bit again last month, a little more than expected. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because the unions may be about to heap a little bit more onto the economy's burden here as the United Auto Workers Union prepares targeted strikes as deal talks with the three major automakers have stalled. The union officials have said they're still very, very far apart on their key priorities. The UAW at these three auto manufacturers represent 150,000 members, and they said that they're prepared to strike these companies in a way they have never seen before. So sounds pretty ominous. They're still very far apart on key issues, including pay raises, cost of living adjustments, pensions, and job security at certain factories. The union has lowered its pay demand from 40% increase over the course of the entire contract, which comes
I mean, just take that in for a minute. 40% request a 40% increase. That now I get you have to negotiate when you have leverage, and I realize the automakers feel that there's leverage right now, and probably is on many different levels, but 40% just really appears to be an unreasonable request. I've never had that kind of request in any of my days negotiating union contracts. Have you?
Yeah, it's not even close to that. And if you compound the wage increases that they're seeking, the 40% is actually 46% over the course of the entire contract. Now, what's interesting is that Ford has apparently proposed 20% raises over 4 years, while GM offered 18% and Stellantis offered 17.5%. So they're definitely going to be getting significant raises, but they're still where the automakers are at about half of what the union is still seeking.
Yeah, and I know sometimes in negotiation, my experience also tells me, they're what they first come out with, I might anticipate, a third or a half of that as a reasonable place to settle in, and it sounds like they're not far off from half of the original request.
Well, no. Make sure you're understanding. The original request was 40%, which comes to 46% once raises are compounded. The unions only come down from 40% to 36%. So
yeah, but the companies have already done 17 and what do you say, 20,
18, and 17 and a half.
Yeah. So my point is the companies are already moving towards that halfway mark to meet them there.
Yeah. They're still an ocean apart as far as I'm concerned. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So that'll be a blow to the economy either way, because if those wages go up by that much, that's going to eventually flow through to the cost of new cars, or if there's a strike, that'll be an additional burden on the economy. Another one that we need to keep our eye on, and in light of the technical difficulties this morning, I'll probably come back and talk about this in more detail down the road, but everybody should be aware that the Department of Labor, I've been off the last couple of weeks from the program, but the Department of Labor has proposed substantial increases to the salary threshold for white collar exemptions. And Phil, I don't know, have you guys been able to talk about this on the program when I've been off the last 2 weeks?
No, we have not.
Okay, so everybody needs to be aware that the Department of Labor has proposed raising the weekly salary by over 50% from $684 per week to $1,059 per week. That's the equivalent of $55,068. They are also seeking to increase the annualized salary threshold for the exemption for highly compensated employees from $107,432 to $143,988. So this is very, very, very significant bump here. In particular, I think the one that most people would be concerned about is if you have managers, supervisors, white collar employees who are making right now more than $35,568 per year, but making less than $55,068. And realistically, I think that 55,068 number, if this goes into effect next year, is probably going to be closer to $60,000. So if you have employees who are making, like I said before, $35,568 per year and probably less than $60,000 per year, you're going to have to look very strongly at their compensation to see if you can bump them above the new salary threshold to keep them exempt. If you cannot keep them exempt, then you are going to have to make them hourly employees. And that means that they're entitled to minimum wage, which wouldn't be a problem there, but then they'd be entitled to overtime. So very, very big news coming out of the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor issued its notice of proposed rulemaking, which means that they're seeking comments from employers on this and from other stakeholders, individuals from around the country. And we don't know the exact timeline on this, but I would not be surprised if this rulemaking, if it follows a similar path to past increases, I would expect that the final rule would come into effect around the middle of next year. So everybody needs to keep this on their radar.